I want to bring in Michael Rothfeld now. He's an investigative reporter for the New York Times Metro Desk and a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist for his coverage of hush money payments made on former President Trump's behalf during the 2016 election. He is also the author of The Fixers, The Bottom Feeders, Crooked Lawyers, Gossip Mongers, and Porn Stars Who Created the 45th President. Michael, welcome. Thank you for joining us. So, what is the significance of today's indictments, and in your research, what did you learn about Allen Weisselberg?
Well, it's very significant both because the Trump Organization, Mr. Trump's company, which made him famous, has been charged with crimes, with engaging in a scheme to pay Allen Weisselberg $1.7 million in income without, just basically off the books, without evading taxes on it, and multiple charges. So that's a big deal after multiple years of investigations. They're charging this company, and it's also significant because they're continuing to investigate former President Trump and charging Mr. Weisselberg, who they've been, the prosecutors in Cy Vance's office, the Manhattan DA, have been trying to get to cooperate against Mr. Trump. This exerts much more pressure on him to do that with the prospect of jail time. And so they're hoping perhaps that he will flip, because Allen Weisselberg has worked for Donald Trump's family and mostly for Donald Trump for nearly 50 years. He's the top financial advisor. He's been very loyal, and he knows every single penny that, maybe not every, but almost every, that comes in and out of the company. So if anybody were to have the sort of information and be able to testify against Donald Trump regarding financial crimes, it would be Allen Weisselberg.
So how does the former president and his family view Weisselberg? How close are they, both on a professional level and on a personal level?
Well, I don't think they're like the best of friends, but clearly he's a very trusted aide to Donald Trump, and his family has been interwoven with Donald Trump's business and family. One of his sons, Barry, has been a manager of Wallman Rink, which the Trump Organization managed. His other son works for one of the biggest lenders to Mr. Trump's company. And the Weisselbergs bought a house in Florida a few years ago. They have flown up and down to Florida on weekends on Trump's jet. And so there's a lot of Barry Weisselberg, Allen's son, has DJ'd at Trump Christmas parties. So there's a lot of intimate relationships that go back many, many years. And that's why when he became president, Donald Trump turned over the responsibility for running the company to Allen Weisselberg, along with his two adult sons, Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump.
So let's talk about Weisselberg's family, because his ex-daughter-in-law, so in other words, Jennifer Weisselberg, who was married to his son before their divorce, has been speaking publicly and saying that she is cooperating with prosecutors. Does this pose a threat to Weisselberg's defense?
I mean, it really depends. She could potentially be a witness about certain perks that Weisselberg is accused of getting without paying taxes on them. One of the things, I haven't read the indictment yet because it just is coming out now, but one of the things that has been reported and revealed is that Trump paid for an apartment, paid rent for an apartment that Allen Weisselberg and his wife lived in for some years. Both he and his wife had free Mercedes-Benzes. So this is the kinds of things that Jennifer Weisselberg might be able to testify to if Allen Weisselberg were to go to trial.
There are also reports of Jennifer and Barry Weisselberg's children getting private school tuition paid for, perhaps from questionable sources. So, at one point, I want to ask you, we heard attorneys for the Trump Organization speaking about this being politically motivated and saying, this is about corporate perks, this is about corporate apartments, these are things that every company does. He called the law on fringe benefits murky. Is that true, and is that a defense?
Well, I think we have reported at the Times that there are some situations where you might not have to pay taxes on those things, although I think it's probably rare. And I'm not purporting to be a legal expert, but for example, if just saying in theory, if you needed to use an apartment for work and the company paid for the apartment, that portion of the apartment might not be taxable to you, but like the personal part would be. So, but if it's just an apartment that you're getting as a perk, then most likely you would have to pay taxes on it, is my understanding of what the law would be.
Right. And now, of course, you have spent many years researching this company, Weisselberg. Based on what you know about him and his loyalty to the former president and the way they've communicated, is Weisselberg someone that you would expect prosecutors will be able to successfully convince to testify against the former president, if that's the route they're intending to take?
That's a great question, and it's a really tough one to answer because, with Michael Cohen, Trump's former lawyer and fixer, who said he would take a bullet for the president, and then he turned on the president when the heat was on. One might never have expected him to do that, but he did it, and so now Weisselberg is going to be facing the same situation, and he's quite a bit older than Michael Cohen was. He's 73. And so he might not want to serve any prison time at this point in his life. On the other hand, depending on what the possible sentences are for the crimes he's charged with, if they're not very long, then he might, make the calculation that even if I go to jail or if I get a 1-year jail sentence and I'm out in 6 months, perhaps, it's not worth turning on the man who has paid my mortgage for the last 50 years. And so those are the kinds of calculations probably that Allen Weisselberg will be making or has already been making. But there's really no way to tell when somebody is going to flip or if they're going to hold strong.
Well, Michael Rothfeld, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you sharing your insight into this organization and into Weisselberg.
Thanks for having me.